Hello everyone. Today I have for you an Atlas strategy for the end of the league. We are doing the normal stack decks on a tier 16 because it's just very easy to do. You don't gotta roll maps and it's just very quick. But we're adding in Harvest and Delirium. So we're adding Harvest to the usual stack deck strat of doing a bunch of stack decks and Ritual because you have to use this for the optimal Harvest strategy, and this got really expensive, so people who are running Harvest are selling the yellow life force for like a lot. Like it's really expensive. It was like 5,000 per divine in the middle of the league, and now it's like 2,500 per divine is what I sell it for when I'm doing this strat. So you can run a completely unjuiced, no harvest scarab strat and make like a decent amount of money. I'd say you probably get like half a divine per map, but some maps you're making like a divine and then it's harvest. So some maps I walk in and I immediately walk out because there's no money to be made just based on the crops that are in there. Okay, so let's look at the Atlas. We're going to start with talking about our ritual because this is the bread and butter, the basic strategy for stack decks that a lot of people have been doing this league. I obviously don't claim any of that to be part of my idea for the strategy. And we're going to take all of our chance to get ritual from the tree. So you get this node because it has a ton of it. And then all the other nodes, the first little small passive is the chance to contain ritual altars also. And I was running like a full ritual strategy, but like I said, I switched off of that for harvest and other things because I don't find ritual to be profitable very often and it's pretty boring. So this is the motivation to switch up the Atlas tree for this. But these nodes here are still pretty important where it makes monsters spawn faster, because if they're spawning faster, the ritual's over faster and we can move on in our map. And then also we will take the fourth altar on every map because in this strategy, we are using the Cloister Scarabs to spawn in the Diodres Devoted, which have a 1% additional chance to drop a stack deck. And when these spawn inside the ritual circles and we kill them in there, then when we start the ritual, it will respawn the Diodres Devoted and they will drop the stack decks again. And it's actually higher than a 1% additional chance to drop a stack deck when we're using 5 of these. It will be 5%. And that's why it's important that you don't switch up the scarabs for anything else. Once you start lowering your chance to get stack decks and lowering the amount of packs, you're just going to get a lot less stack decks. The 5th scarab is very important. For our harvest nodes, we basically just take everything that we can. We do take all of our chance to spawn harvest from our tree. If you're not going to run the delirium portion, you don't need to take this because we're crafting on delirium on our map device, but instead you can get rid of these nodes and craft on harvest instead. But right now for this exact strategy, we are taking all these nodes up here, right here, right here. And then when it comes to the actual harvest strategy, because you can just run normal harvest where the crop plots will spawn in with a certain tier and you just run it right away and you don't worry about anything. But we're going to be running crop rotation because I find it to be more profitable even without scarabs. And I know there's like a strategy where you take all the purple and the blue nodes here and then only a couple of the yellow, but that is not that strategy. This is not that strategy. So it's actually just, you really don't need a lot of points to do this. And all we're trying to do is buff up one yellow crop plot. And I do talk about harvest later on. And if you don't understand harvest, you can look up another video that will explain it better, but that will just make this video way too long. And then for our delirium, the only part of delirium that's really profitable are delirium orbs and splinters, because simulacrums actually sell for a much better right now than they were in the middle of the league, but it's really not that good still. And delirium orbs do sell very well because people put them on tier 17 maps, so that's like the main thing we're farming. They are pretty rare drops, and delirium is the least profitable part of the strategy, but it is fun and adds a lot more mobs. So the nodes we take here are these, and also we do take this one because it gives a 1% chance for unique enemies to drop delirium orbs, and we'll be running glacier maps where the last boss is there's like 7 or 8 unique enemies that spawn before the boss. So they have a chance to drop them. We're running Ritual, which has unique enemies spawn. And then when you kill them inside the circle, they will keep spawning. So you still have more chances to drop the orbs. I already did run a bunch of maps, and I think I ran 40 maps, and I did drop like 3 Delirium orbs from unique enemies. So this is decent to pick up. And then our Simulacrum splinters from this. And then also, this will just increase our reward progression right here. I use Eater altars, but you can use Exarch altars. I take as much pack size as possible because killing more enemies, more gold, more Delirium progression, and more altars spawning. And the altars that we want are obviously quantity and rarity, which is amazing. And then also the basic currency duplication, or has a chance to, is very profitable because it will duplicate our stack decks. So this is awesome to have. So for the map you want to run Glacier because it has the least amount of area on the map. So it's more likely that the Diodres Devoted will spawn inside the ritual circles, which just means more stack decks. And then also, Glacier's weird, where a lot of League mechanics will not spawn until the second half of the map, which is really good because for the Sacred Grove, we want to pick up some of our altars to get more quantity. And that means we won't have to pick up the altars and then run all the way back to the very beginning of the map. If it spawned there, it's always guaranteed to spawn in the second half of the map, which is the indoor portion of the map. I do run 8 mod maps because the increased quantity does buff up harvest, like the amount you get from it. And then also the pack size will make our stack decks and our harvest strategy better also. I highly suggest an 8 mod map, but you can definitely run this without it. And it will still be profitable because stack decks are OP. Alright, I want to do an example map. We're going to craft on Delirium. If you're following my tree, because we don't have any Delirium chance on the tree really. I don't think at all. So you want to hit the mirror first before you kill anything. I wait till that pop to start killing to fill up the rewards, because there are a lot of enemies that die right in the beginning. There's so many like right at the front. So I'm going to pick the ones that I want here that I can handle real quick. We got the basic currency dupe, so this will be a very much above average map on the stack decks, but everything else should be pretty normal. Once you kill everything to get the ritual to start, you just start it before you start picking up things, because we're trying to get the Delirium timer to last to the very end of the map, which I really almost always do. Another basic currency dupe, but my physical damage is reduced, which is really bad for me. So we'll see if I rip, but this will be a crazy above average map that you gotta watch. We dropped 3, which is actually pretty bad. But what I'm trying to say is that when you start the ritual, it will pause the Delirium timer, which is obviously very beneficial for us. And inside the ritual, it will still fill up the rewards. And I'm pretty sure the enemies that we kill in here extend the timer also, considering I don't have any like timer extension on the Atlas tree, and I always get it to the end. Well, sadly, a lot of the stack deck mobs did not spawn inside the rituals, so we're not getting many from them right now. But it should go pretty well for the second half of the map, I would think. Picking up a lot of stack decks here. Make sure you make your filter for stack decks make the icons really big and a very bright color, so you know what to pick. And you can pick them up very quickly to keep the Delirium running. Oh yeah, I almost missed all of these. And this is the second half of the map that I was talking about. This is the inside, where the harvest will spawn somewhere. It could have been like right there right away. Oh, it is kind of like right here. You can see it on the map. And we'll go inside here right now because it also pauses the Delirium timer. And there's a lot to harvest. I would definitely watch a harvest video. I'll put one down in the description so you can learn how to do this, but We want to keep the yellow crop plots to the very end, because by doing the other colors, we will be upgrading them. And I'll show you how the upgrades look as we go through this. But this crop plot right here, this is one plot. Well, I guess each of them are considered their own plot, but they're kind of tied together. And when you start one, the other will wilt away. From our tree, we do have a 10% chance that it will stay. And if you run a real harvest strategy with the Horn Scarab of Awakening, you'll have like a 60% chance that it'll stay. But for the most part, we never rely on it staying because it's such low chance. And I'm going to run the purple because there's the least amount of purple on the map. And you can see how this one wilted away and is gone now. And from doing that, we upgraded all the blues and the yellows a little bit. They upgraded random amounts as far as I'm aware. Sometimes they'll upgrade a ton and sometimes very little. But right now we're going to upgrade the other yellows on our map because they're not going to give enough juice or enough life for us right now with just one upgrade. So we do have to sacrifice that yellow to upgrade the other ones. And we might even sacrifice another one. I'm going to go through and look at these to see how they are. And they're still both really bad, not upgraded. The other one had more of the tier 2 enemies. These like really dark colored ones are tier 1. These are tier 2. And there's also tier 3 and 4. And we want tier 3s. A bunch of tier 3s is the best. A tier 4 is good, but like 6 to 8 tier 3s is better. So we'll see if this upgraded or not. It did. This is what a tier 3 enemy looks like. Whenever it gets to like 6 to 8 tier 3s, you just run it and you don't upgrade it more because it'll flop to a tier 4, which will then get rid of all like the tier 3s on it. As you can see, like the tier 1s go to tier 2s, the tier 2s go to tier 3s, and then 3s to the 4s. And with a big pack of tier 3s, that is multiplied by our increased pack size on our map. So with like 6 to 8 tier 3s, you just run it. But sadly, we got a pretty bad harvest this time around. I mean, it's lucky that we had as many crop plots as we did. You get between 3 and 5 per map. I think we had 4 this one, which is fine. And it was nice that we actually had some yellow up here. Sometimes you'll get 3 crop plots of blues and purples, and you just leave right away. Like, you're not going to get any money. You can run it to upgrade the delirium rewards if you want, but for the most part, I would just walk away. It's kind of a waste of time. But we are getting all these stacked decks still. For some reason, my delirium timer is almost running out. Probably talking too much and not killing enough. But I started the ritual there, so we should be alright when we pop out of here. I'll speed it up as much as I can to the end. But whenever I'm running this by myself and I'm not yapping, I get all the way to the end before the delirium runs out, kill the boss and everything. Well, I guess it's just going to end on me again. But you can see we got 19 stacked decks there. Our delirium's pretty bad, but we still got 2 orbs, which is very nice. Usually get between like 0 and 3. Usually get more splinters than that. But I think, as I was about to say, the stacked decks are the bread and butter of the strat. You just always profit with them, and Harvest and Delirium are supplementary. I just didn't find Ritual to be profitable that very often. Like, just the other ritual nodes that you could take on the map. It just wasn't really benefiting me much, and it wasn't very fun. So just adding this to keep it fresh. There's a lot more enemies to kill. Harvest is just very fun to me. So adding those on is making it so I can keep playing the game and going through this. I enjoy these more than doing tier 17 strats because of the layout of the maps and how quickly I can run them, and the boss goes down quicker. Even if tier 17 strategies are more profitable, this is still just more fun to me and something I can keep doing. And it's really not bad at all. You get a bunch of gold still. You can do strategies on the exchange, the currency exchange. You can do the 50 million shipments, which I still do. And I still look at the ritual here. And you want to make sure that you have at least 8,000 tribute when you re-roll, like after you re-roll. Because this is just what I've heard. I've never seen it happen. But you can get a mirror, like, to appear from this. And to keep the mirror, you won't have enough tribute to buy it. You'll have to defer it and then get it in a different map. So you want to make sure you have some tribute remaining. That's my only tip for this. Otherwise, just pick what you want. Just grab some other stuff. Grab some random stuff on your last reroll, which with how I have my tree set up, I only have one reroll. So I'll just grab a bunch of stuff and move on. Okay, I guess I can talk about the harvest on this one, and I'll run it really fast. The purple was the least color here, so I'll run that first. I'll run this one second, because it'll upgrade that other blue crop plot up there. So we'll get a little bit of blue life force, most likely, hopefully from a tier 3 enemy. That's a random lucky drop. And then, yeah, this one has 2, so I'll run this one. It had 2 tier 3s, so I'll run this. And then we'll see how our yellow crop plots work, and we'll probably run them both, but I can't guarantee that right now. Pick up all this. Supposedly, Delirium is paused in Harvest, but I do feel like taking so long to explain last time had something to do with the timer ending. Okay, yeah, this is really bad. We're going to upgrade this crop plot by running this blue, because I don't want to run that yellow at all, because it's so bad. And I hope I don't accidentally upgrade to a tier 4 on this yellow one. Let's see. Okay, it just barely upgraded it. I think it went from 4 to 5 there, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, sometimes they can upgrade a lot, sometimes not at all. I mean, you can see those 2 yellows had the same amount of upgrades, but this one was significantly better. And then when I upgraded it again, it was like very minimal. So a lot of RNG in this, but your choices do make a huge difference, and that's what makes it fun. So we'll go fight the boss, and I actually got the good ritual where the dude laughs at you, so we'll talk about that too. Bruh. Okay, so when Delirium ends, or when you're at the end of the map, this is actually how my rewards always look, this 8642. Just because of how many enemies are here, and it's always like a good bit above, so you should always get it. But we usually get like 50 or 60 splinters, and then 0 to 3 delirium orbs, and this map was insane. I got a divine drop and 2 Voldos puzzle boxes. I don't really think that the strategy has anything to do with that at all. I think that was just random luck. And this ritual where the guy laughs at you when you start it always has this audience with the king, and you want to sell this because it's worth like hundreds of chaos. It's really good. And every time you roll this, there will be another one that appears. So you defer it and you roll, and you can see another one appeared here. I will defer this one and buy this one. The only thing that sucks is every time you re-roll, a new one will appear, and on the Atlas tree you can get 3 re-rolls, so 4 screens basically of rewards, and you can get a bunch of these when this happens. I'm not going to buy this one, but when I go to another map, this will reappear, and I can either defer it again to make it even cheaper, and then I'll eventually buy it, basically, and I'll have it then. I can just buy this one now and move on with that, but I think I'll move some Scarab nodes, I think, to get more rerolls. That's less tribute, and this goes 2 additional times. So I could get rid of these Scarab nodes to pick up this, but this does not appear very often, so I don't know. I think I'd rather just get Scarabs from my rare enemies and just take this as a loss when it happens. But This is the only thing that I find to be profitable during Ritual. So I ran 40 of the 8 mod Glacier maps with the strategy that I just explained, and this is what I got from it. I'm only going to really talk about the parts that I was target farming because that's all that's important to me in a strategy video. I got 1,274,000 gold, which was about 32,000 per map. I got 2,647 stacked decks from the 40 maps, which is 66 per map. I got 41,000-ish yellow life force. I did get some purple and blue life force. You can basically say I made a divine from the other 2 life forces each, but this is 1,022 yellow life force per map, which is actually 0.4 divines per map, which is very interesting. I am very happy with this number, actually, and I didn't feel like I got any super special harvests that really made this number like bloated or anything, and I definitely did get some harvests that were really bad where it's just a bunch of blue and purple, which this is just how harvest goes, and I feel like this is a pretty good number to say is the divines per map you'll get on average. And then also with Delirium, I counted the splinters because I did talk about it in the Atlas video, but it's very unprofitable. It's like 0.02 divines per map, which is like a couple chaos. And then also I got basically 1 Delirium orb per map. That's not how it drops. It was like 0 on a bunch of maps and like 3 on others. And then sometimes you'll get a Delirium orb from a unique enemy, but it ends up being like 0.1 divine per map. So we can say per map, I got about 1.38 divines from the parts that I was target farming. I do have some extra stuff that I'll talk about. And then for the cost, I do the Delirium Craft, which is 7 chaos. The Cloister Scarabs cost me 33 chaos per map. And then the 8 mod map, I farm my own, but the opportunity cost is about 14 chaos. So per map, it's 54 chaos or 0.36 divines. And you'll always make this back in stacked decks. Stacked decks are very consistent, so you never really have to worry about losing money, and you can start this strategy with literally 54 chaos, basically, and it'll work out. And it is important to note that we are not nerfing our stacked deck farm at all by adding on these other things. Empyrean did a base or cringe video on the stack deck farm where I basically took my strategy from his, and he got 67 stack decks per map and I got 66. So, and he even target farmed the rituals where if you don't see a bunch of Deodres devoted in a ritual circle, you can pass it by and then go find one that does have a bunch of Deodres devoted, and then run that one, and then come back to the one that didn't have a bunch, and then the Deodres devoted from the other ritual will also spawn in the less profitable ritual that it would have been, and then you can actually like get more out of your maps. But the more we're getting out of our maps is going to be harvest, so I was just blasting through rituals as I saw them, and it still turned out almost the same as his, so that's really awesome to see. And then our profit per map on just the parts that were target farming was basically 1.02 divines. So I did save some of the more significant rewards from the maps off to the side. I did not do Wealthy Exile for all the little scarabs and other currency that I got. I just don't have the storage space for that. But of course, I was picking up scarabs here and there. Some of them, I think in the video, I dropped a scarab, Harvest Scarab of Doubling, which is like 40 chaos. That stuff is not uncommon, so you can add that into, I mean, that's just a part of any strategy, so it's like, what's even the point of calculating it? But this is the other random stuff that I got that is significant, and you can see I got some tier 17s. The Glacier map dropped Citadel, which is like the least expensive one, which sucks. I got some Cluster Jewels, which are like 10 to 20 chaos each. I got a couple div cards. I got one from Harvest, and then one from a Delirium reward, which is really lucky. And these are like 50 chaos-ish. I got some uniques, which I got, these are like, I think they're higher tier uniques. They're at least labeled as higher tier from my loot filter, which this was a lot more than usual. So I wonder if Delirium's increased rarity played into this in some way, which is the only reason I think I would continue to run Delirium. I'll probably test it more and see how many uniques I drop. I mean, I would love to drop a Mage Blood, but it's not really like a Magic Find strategy, but it is a boost in Magic Find, so that is cool. This unique is actually like, I think, a lower tier, but it's actually worth 4 divines. All the other ones are like 10 to 20 chaos on the market right now. So this was pretty cool to find, and I'm just gonna attribute it to Delirium to cope and say this Delirium part of the strategy is good. And then I also got some audiences with the king. You saw me pick up a couple, but I also have one more in a ritual right now. I got this on like the very last map that I ran, but I didn't want to run another map and mess up my calculations and stuff. I got a Sacred Blossom from Harvest, and when you run this, you will get a Sacred Crystallized Life Force and maybe some other stuff from the boss. And this is the Crystallized Life Force is worth 120 chaos. You get a couple of these omens, which sell for like 70 chaos each. I got Valdo's Puzzles, the Scarab of Bloodlines, and a Divine Orb. And then also from the rituals, you can sometimes get these consumable items that are worth a little bit. And I don't know what this one's worth, but it's probably worth like 50 chaos or something. You actually get a lot of these from the same ritual where the guy's laughing at you, where you get the audiences of the king. So make sure you look out for these also. And then I got a unique jewel and a ring that is weird and has a weird double corruption that's kind of synergistic. So maybe I can get this to sell for a little bit to some random person who's just starting out and wants a flammability skill. But yeah, that is the strategy. I'm very happy with it. I definitely can see, I mean, running Delirium makes the strategy very difficult. So if your build can't handle it, just get rid of Delirium and add in Harvest. I really think there's no reason to not add in Harvest onto this build or onto this strategy at all. It's so good and fun, and I think I proved that here. So you can take off the Delirium, you can take off the Sacred Harvest Chance, and just craft that onto your map device. And then you can put your points into Scarab nodes like this one and this one, or you can put it into maps if you want to drop some tier 17 maps. It's up to you. Thanks for watching. If you like this, please subscribe and check out more of my Path of Exiles content that will be coming out. I have a Recombinator video out if you don't know how to use that, and then I show off my build that I've been making this whole league that I used in this video, so you can check that out too. Like the video if this helped you out, and comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you later.